Hey guys, what's going on? I think I'm pretty prepared to take on this chapter. This is the sixth one. It's not what I thought it was going to be at all. Usually this idea when they bring up the middle, the Kundalini and stuff like that, they usually talk about a serpent, and it didn't come up. All right. So am I thinking that? Oh man, I blew it. Well, in some ways, yeah. Excuse me. Whew. I just had me some supper. Um, I didn't blow it so much as this. There's just so many bits of symbolisms that come along with this here. But you have to understand, but this represents the way. And when you go this way, it changes you. This is the whole idea. That's the way. The way is the works, the inside of us, the workings. And so with that, I was not let down. Okay. Because it's talking about this change. And I wanted to go into it with you right away, and we can talk more about it later, okay? While we're still young in the time, all right? Hang on. And he said, and remember now, I forgot to tell, in this group, in six, the four are still grouped together, the first four all the way through, all right? Look, it's going to give us 59. That's these extra three over on the end. That's your intervention, okay? And that intervention either means you're going to go into captivity or you're going to be free. That's that one part. Depends on who you're getting connected to. But we still have all these other things. There's an angel that comes and talks to him in 31. We get this idea down here in 49, which is a world that says you asked for two things to come into life. You asked for two creatures. This is where the creature finally comes up. And weird about it is that in my version of it, I've got Enoch, and then we get the Leviathan. All right. So you're looking at. He said this is so. This if you listen to the story, if you listen to what I've heard offline, a narration and somebody else would say this winds up being some kind of a monster, a behemoth or something like that. What's the word? Leviathan. Well, anyways, it'll come up. Where did I put it? Well, anyways, Enoch and the Leviathan. So you really talk about Enoch gets the dry side, and the Leviathan is whale, so it gets in the water. So they can't handle it together at the same time. So there's a division made up, and this is the division starts about right here on number 41, which represents two. That whole line is about mother and father, the God's creation. The division that's on here, and then three is about this three is going to be about we're not connected, or if right here in this one here, this is what you would be if you were connected. But anyway, let's not get carried away, okay? So I just want to let you know that it stopped being perfect all the way through, except maybe that first one looks like a world, because it says unto me in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, before the winds blew. Those are perfect. They fit perfectly across those words. They did. All right. Before the earth was made, before the borders stood. This is borders, the body, before the body stood. And before the wind blew, remember God's breath, the breath of God, before the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning. Wait a minute. It sounds like it's turning into one of those things, just against what I just told you. Before it thundered, that's the beast. Before it lightning, or before the foundations of paradise was even laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established. This is all working. They're all work. They're all worlds, you guys. before the innumerable multitude of angels to gather together. For over the heights was the airfield lifted up, where the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, and or ever the chimneys of Sion were hot. That's the fourth one finally. And are their present years were sought out, and were the inventions of them that now sin returned, before they were sealed, and have gathered faith as a treasure. And did I consider these things, and they were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also this shall be ended, and by none other. And this is on the seventh one. Seventh is a good run of things. Seven is God's day. It's always kind of favorable, but it says, then answered and I said, and shall be the parting asunder of times. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Remember, it always happens at the seventh. And when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And we'll get to 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham to Isaac, and then from Jacob and Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand held first to the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. We went down to 9. That was the first 9. He's going to ask you, when does one get over with before the other one starts? And he brings up the story of Esau and Jacob. Now, I did this to you guys just the other day, if you've been watching, okay? And I can't tell if anybody watches this. I can't. And the numbers are also weird. All the numbers, there are 3 or 4 different places that you could get information about what I write and talk about. Each one of them, one says nothing, no one's talking about it. One says 2 are talking about it. One would say there's 12 in here. It's just not adding up. And so I don't know what's going down. All right. So here we got the first 9. We're talking about 6, which has to do with us getting this intervention. And here is a story. Here is Esau. Not Esau, we're looking for Ezra. He's asking questions still. He's still in this mist place, he hasn't made it over. And you're going to find out that, he doesn't really make it over there right away. He keeps being brought back. This angel comes and says, well, come back to us after you've done this for 7 days. I want you to fast for 7 days of prayers, and then we'll get back together again, and I'll tell you some more things. That's how these stories have been coming. So he's been going to, waking up, real life, and they say, where have you been? Where have you been? You know that the world around you, you're in charge of Jerusalem while we're in captivity. You're in charge of this. And he's like, go away and leave me alone, and he gets right away into his fasting. So because he doesn't want to give it up. He says he's going to, he's got 3 weeks or something like that he has to gain this knowledge. And so he's asking these questions of this angel. And when it comes down to it, we get this a rundown of the making of the worlds. And remember again, now that we know it, every 4 scriptures is going to be about the making of the world. And what you're going to get here is, I want us to pull out 25, 26, 27, 28. That's the Lord's day. But we can back it up to 6, which is about the way. And we'll see 6 starts with 21, 22, 23, and 24. So we'll do those. 21. Is that right? Yeah, number 21. And let's see what we get here. 21, it represents a 3. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. That's the child. The women with child shall bring forth ultimately children of 3 and 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, and when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time shall friends fight one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear of those which dwell within. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. This is that verse 24. That is the way. That's the chakra system itself. It's about this story. It's about this chapter 6 gone dry. No water. The fountains shall sit still. Nothing. The earth shall stand in fear. This is the lower mind is now draped in fear. And instead of hearkening to the trumpet and being happy that its time was over, they're going to be fearing it. So it's just the opposite side. The people that following the word are being taken on a trip in fear. Captured they are. That's what it means. So let's get into the 7. Let's see what happens with the Lord's Day on 7, and that's 25, 26, 27, 28, 25. Okay, that number adds up to 7. It's working out beautifully all the way around. It's really all I'm trying to get about. Whosoever remaineth from these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. And the men that are to receive shall see it and have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. It's our heart, this part right here. We're on our way to 31. Wait a minute. Not yet. I'm on the wrong numbers. I'm on 27 is where I'm at right now. 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. That's our body. The evil will be quenched from us. It will be taken away from our body. 27. The physical side of us. And then as for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which hath been long without fruit, shall be declared. So that's the good side of this, all right? And when he talked with me, and behold, he looked and he saw a little upon him where I stood. And these words said unto me, I am come to show thee the time of the night to come. That should be the second one. And thou wilt pray yet more, and fast 7 days, and I shall tell thee greater things by day than I have heard. And the voice before me, and the Most High, and the Mighty, rises. All right, so he's talking to this messenger. Messenger's telling him, hey, go back and fast for 7 days again, and I'll tell you more. All right. And so he goes and does all this business, and when he comes back again, here we go. We have, and it came to pass that I wept again and fasted 7 days, like in the manner that I might fulfill the 3 weeks which he told me. This is number 35. Where's that at on here? 35 is over here. 35. All right. 35, 36. And in the 8th hour was my heart vexed with me again, and I began to speak before the Most High, as representing the end of another world. For my spirit was greatly set on fire, my soul was in distress. And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of creation, even the first day, and saith, let heaven and earth be made, and let thy work be perfectly worked. And then was the spirit, the darkness, the silence, where on every side the sound of man's voice was not yet formed. This is number 39. Then commandeth the fair light to come forth thy treasures, that thy work might appear. This is number 40. 41 comes to division. Upon the second day, thou madest the spirit of the firmament, and commandest it to part asunder, and to make a division between the waters, and so that one part might go up, and the other remaineth beneath. Upon the third day thou didst command that the waters should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth, 6 parts that hath dried up, and kept them, in intent of these to being planted of God, and tilleth might serve thee. This is number 42. Number 42, this is the waters being pulled together. Now, see what happens with 42, 43 down here? The good stuff is always down at the bottom. 43, for as soon as thy word went forth and the work was made, the word, you are the word. You are the word. This is where we are at. As soon as thy word went forth and the work was made. For immediately there was great and innumerable fruit, and many diverse pleasures for the taste, flowers, and unchangeable color, and odors of wonderful smell. And this was done the third day. This is number 44. And this was done on the 4th day. Upon the 4th day that commanded the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order. This is the beginning of the first one. And gave us them charge to do service unto man that was to be made. Upon the 5th day, upon the 5th day represents our body 5. Upon the 5th day thou sayest unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls, fishes. And so it came to pass. And then the last one, for the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the command of God, and that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Starts again. Then didst you ordain 2 living creatures, the one that thou callest Enoch, and the other Leviathan, and didst separate the one from the other. Excuse me. For the 7 parts, namely, where the waters was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch thou gavest 1 part, which was dried up on the 3rd day. And he should, on the 3rd day, this is the whole part of this whole business. This is what this whole story is about right now. It was dried up on the 3rd day. And he should dwell in the same part wherein 1,000 hills. All right. This is the low land. And unto Leviathan, thou gavest the 7th part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured, of whom thou wilt and when. Upon the 6th day, thou gavest a commandment unto earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creepy things. This should be a brand new line, number 53, where it is. We're on our last line here, right, before we get to the lockdown. 53, Down here, all of these fives are representing the body. So let's see what they're going to tell us about our body. 53. We just read 53, 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. And as for other people, which also come from Adam, that say that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them upon a drop that falleth from a vessel. So they're making light of these guys. They're saying, yeah, and there's a bunch, and all these people that also came from Adam, you say they're like spit. It's like a little drop that came from a vessel. All right. Well, and now, Lord, and now, O Lord, these are the last three. And now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be the lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. And in the world now we made for our sakes, we do not possess an inheritance with the world. How long shall this endure? So it's saying here that we don't even have a possession of our own world. It's like everybody. It's like these wandering Jews. They don't got no place to go. Well, those guys have some place to go. So what a wonderful little story that we get out of this. The Enoch and the Leviathan. This is where you get Levi. This is where you get the idea that this is the people that get to serve God. And Leviathan means the whale. And this would be, you get totally absorbed by God. You are his. That's what that is meaning, okay? And, of course, this is about separation. So, we thought that this was going to be a really beautiful read. Slowly slipping south, And I think that we're going to get more stories out of this. But you'll see here that this is, it's following the code very well. It's one world after another. And it's just beautiful. Well, when you think about it, this is the way God planned on, doing the suffering and how you have to suffer before you come over to this other side. It's kind of interesting and scary and profound, and it's just interesting. With just following how God works, and even if it's not making any sense to us in some ways, it's not supposed to. God has his own way. God together now, stop saying his, but this idea that God, it's all in his hands. Both sides of this flipping little world of ours are in his hands, both of them. He's carrying you around being the coolest dad on earth, before he introduces his mom. And when he introduces to mom, you still are the coolest person on earth. He says, I love you. I missed you. So get back in touch with mom and dad as soon as possible. Okay? Get it on. Change your mind. Do like they did in that Jonah story. The Jonah, when Jonah's thrown in there, gets you eat up by the Leviathan. Oh my God. Go in there. You give yourself up for food. How about that number system back there? Pretty cool. We're left with 3 at the end. We were left captive. Damn sure were. Looks like everything's going south. So And for you guys that are new, that means God's leaving the building, you know, and it's just showing you how it works. Okay. I didn't have God. None of us on earth have God. Then something happens and you have God. Okay. But don't just hit you on the head. I practiced for 5, 6 years. And it's just crazy. I'm telling you, I sought this place. I knocked on that door and it opened for me. And this is how I'm able to talk and have all these wonderful chats with you. I just love it. I was doing it before I got bit by the bug. I was on the trail. On the trail, I'm telling you. I am so sure-footed now, I can't tell you more. How excited I am to be able to bring this book to you. To you few people. To you few. All right? Whether that be because, our oppressive nature of mankind, trying to press on, big brother trying to smush us down, trying to hold you down, you know. Or it's the real big brother up there just keeping you shushed because people are just so asleep. And it's kind of like a good out for me when people can say, well, you could say that, no one can understand you because God made you because God came between you and them, makes them stupid, makes you stupid, makes everything fucked up. Yeah, well, that's always a good go. Yeah, that's a good band-aid to say things. But, the Bible tells us, that I put sleep on you guys. And, that's the curse. God put a curse on you guys. I didn't do it. So your ignorance about God, it's not because of me. God did that to you. All right. We'll end on that note. I love you guys. Chat with you soon.